Everybody, it's me and Jacob. Welcome back to State of Scrims.
Woo!
This is probably episode 39? No, 38. Hazarding a guess. 38. Big money for if I'm right, I guess.
Yeah,
We
team
actually
sucks on
have
the
a,
rice, perhaps.
a couple weeks to cover here. Which is good because we have fewer games every week. So I'll actually have a full amount of content here.
Oh,
Um,
true.
but I believe we are starting off with weeks 5 and 6. So week 5 would have been Psycho Carrot Orn top arc.
Let's go.
Supreme gameplay coming out there. And then we have Fruitcakes versus Rift Sharks, where we get gapped the fuck out by Teddy. Um, and that kicked off the the Urgot meta, which Stanley then
Oh my
continued
gosh.
in
Yeah.
Andromeda versus Metabusters, which was a banger, another 3 game series. You love to see it. And then we had Metabusters versus 101 Thieves, which was another pretty solid one. Close games, at least at the beginning. And then 101 Thieves versus Fruitcakes. Those were less close games. Um,
The double header week was pretty good. Good for
yeah.
content.
Um, I'm hoping that the stream quality is okay here. It's could be a little questionable.
Your camera looks really funny.
Yeah, I'm
It's
like,
you know. Oh,
I
banana,
feel like
banana, banana.
an NPC. How is how is it banana? Wait, if I just drag this off to the side, will that save it? That might
Oh,
save it. Hold
oh,
on.
it flickered.
Okay, I think I have a solution here. Um, okay, can I get my Chrome capture to work? Yes. Okay. I think we're good. I'm just gonna wait. No. Okay. I'm gonna leave Chrome up and then just tell me
Hmm.
if anything gets fucked up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good plan. Good plan. Um, I think I have too many tabs open for my laptop to be happy, but you know
Oh
what? That's
god.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doing it live.
But anyway, this is the first season or first series that we're covering. Oh, okay. This was when Oliver and Vic both debuted in team format.
Yes.
Both of them had pretty solid series. Lithi and Honan had a pretty good first game, and then a
Yeah.
less than
Uh
stellar game 2.
yeah.
Um, we saw Rex whip out the Belveth for seemingly no reason other than he wanted to play the champion. I'm hoping that the high quantity of Discord DMs I'm getting aren't important. So I'll be checking them on my phone. Um, okay, Mason
No,
sent me a tweet. Jacob pinged me that the podcast is live, and Noam also pinged me asking about the podcast. So nothing important. That is
yeah.
already addressed. But we did see Twitch and Leona win through both games here, which I think is a little questionable. I don't know if we need to be banning Rengar, and we definitely do not be needing to ban Belveth. Um, Leona, I think obviously you're going to leave up because Dominic had said that he hadn't really even played the champion.
Right.
But Will is a problem, to be fair, to be sure.
Dude, I
Um,
swear, like, I feel like you and a few other people are the only ones to like, that everyone's just like, oh, Twitch is Twitch, and then you're like, bro, like, who's letting us through? And that he's showing why.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's just like, oh, like Twitch is like bad right now, but it's like you don't understand. Like all the Twitch fun tricks have like a million mastery points on Twitch, and like they like inject the like moldy cheese into their
Yeah,
veins, and
yeah,
like they can just play the champion in any situation. Like he has so
yeah.
much stuff in his kit, and like maybe he's not going to be super strong, but like that's still a hyper scaling ADC that has a good early game. Like they're going to find some way to make something happen of it. Even in
Right.
that most recent game. Um, or not most recent game. Game 2 of 101 Thieves versus Metabusters, we let it through. We counterpicked Neela. Neela looked great, but Twitch still had insane leads early, which is not even a point of the game where like the Neela matchup should be playable early. I don't know. I mean, Neela has insane value against Twitch late game. I think, in my opinion, that's the only situation where you actually should be giving Twitch. Um, so for Rift Sharks, we're never giving Twitch because we're always getting Neela banned.
Right.
Slash S, I guess. I don't know. I'm not
I
leaving
mean,
drafts because that's a hypothetical.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
saying what team I'm even like. Who cares? But anyway, yeah. I mean, we just have a lot of very good Twitch one tricks in our server. I don't
Yes.
think it's something we can leave up. Are there any like bananas in chat, Jacob, or have we solved
No,
the problem?
we're
Okay,
no fruit.
cool. But
Oh,
anyway, yeah.
that's face like Kokium. They'll slap you up. That's such bravery. Sorry.
Um,
Because I think the series was the debut of Carrot Top, which was very very cool. We saw Jonah return to the mid lane, which
Hell yeah.
some newer players didn't know that Jonah was a mid laner originally, which like
No
blows my
worries.
mind. But especially you get the 5-0 on ASO. That's not normally the champion he was known for, but like Jonah still got it mid. Do not worry about that.
Yeah, I feel like Jonah's always been able to play like any type of champion mid, so it wasn't super
Yes. Yeah.
surprising to see him just thrown on scaling mages. I feel like they drafted super like LCK style, which I feel like considering you have Rex on your team isn't super surprising. I feel
Right.
like he kind of subscribes to some of those schools of thoughts. Whether he actually implements them or not in his ranked games where he's slamming Kazakhs, different question. But
Yeah.
at least in the 5v5s, I feel like that's what he normally goes for. Psycho Carrot just getting put on Ornn duty is really funny. I also find it amusing that you see that you're playing into 5 scaling, and then, or I guess you only see 3 scaling flipped, and then we pick the Kale into the Ornn. Like, yeah, that's a good matchup, but I don't know. I mean, I've talked this to death on the original cast, but just like for anyone who
Uh,
didn't get it already, if you see Bel'Veth on the enemy team, draft a strong topside. Don't pick Kale. Um,
what? No. Belveth, she's such a weak. She's so weak. You can
right.
just like ego her,
We
right? Just
should
ego and
let
scale.
her
Ego and scale.
snowball early
Yeah.
for
Ego and
sure.
scale. Trust.
Um, yeah, I mean, that game kind of went how we knew it was going to from draft. You have a weak top side into Bel'Veth. She's going to snowball and do well. And you give Will Twitch, he wins early game. So next game, what do we do? Adapt nothing in the bot lane, give them Twitch again, and then ban Bel'Veth, who wasn't the problem. Bean again does pretty well in lane versus Psycho Carrot. It doesn't matter because Rex is really fed again. Turns out
Especially
Bel'Veth wasn't the problem, it was Rex. But that's
the
okay.
Carrot global taunt was real that game.
Yeah, no, it was absurd. We were dropping like every ultimate off cooldown onto Psycho Carrot to kill him. He probably wasn't even worth 300 gold. Um, Tough stuff from Andromeda. It felt like their comms were all over the place. We saw individual
Yeah.
good gameplay from everyone, somewhat consistently across the series. But I mean, I don't think Lithy going 0-8 in game 2 is really her fault. I mean,
Yeah.
you have Rex camping bot lane to get the Twitch ahead, and you also have Will on Twitch. What else are you doing? Um,
Right.
Not too much to talk about there, but 101 Thieves did win again. I believe this put them at 2-1.
I think that's
Moving
right. Yeah.
forward to the next series, this one was a bit of an upset. Fruitcakes was towards the bottom of the standings. Surfsharks was still on top when this series happened, I believe. But
Um.
um,
Wasn't Rift
yeah,
Sharks like number one before
we
this?
yes, yeah, we would have been 3
Okay.
and 2.
Yeah.
So this would have been the top team losing to a team that they had beaten previously,
Yeah.
which upset. Uh, we did have
That's what you
Garrett
want to see,
playing for
right?
us, which was different, and I went into the top lane. RNA absolutely fathered me this first game, and we got nothing done in the bot lane.
I mean, I think that like this game in particular is pretty. There's one standout pick here that I feel like we're kind of ignoring.
Yeah, I mean
The melee
the
mid.
yeah, I mean like I would be real. That shit like didn't do anything. Like it made us
um,
like question. Like it had a lot of impact
I
in the
strongly
team
disagree.
fights,
Actually,
but
I feel like
um,
the Renata ults, Melio just like completely negated, and then I believe Kathy's second item rushed the Mikhail's. I might be wrong with that. It might have been third, but like with those two cleanses, like Jinx was just like completely unkillable.
yeah,
So
I mean,
I
I
think the
think
Melio did
my
more
my
work
point
than
is
it
more
looked
so
like.
like I think the Melio could have been like a support too, and I don't think it makes a huge difference. Um,
Mhm.
but I mean, our like entire engage here is one point and click CC with Lissandra. That, as you said, Mikhail's completely negates that, and then we have like Renata and Lilia, which are both like very delayed cleansable CC. And we don't get any early game leads on Lissandra or MF, so we're basically
Right?
just screwed. I mean, if MF gets far enough ahead that she can just walk at you and shoot you in the face and you die,
But
I
then
think
Mumu just like
the
pressed R.
cleanses. Right. I mean, like, our
Yeah.
draft was a little fucked here. We didn't really draft a winning lane in the bot lane. We had huge advantages mid and top.
Right.
Eric camp top and put me behind. I feel like I had a couple of good plays later in the game, but nothing outstanding. And Arneas Jax is Arneas Jax. Like you're not gonna have a fun time into that. But
Yeah.
I mean, Hongwabot and Kathy were just able to get so much done. in isolation versus Evan and
Yeah,
PB,
there was
which
this. Well, you say in isolation,
yeah.
but I believe that there was this play where I think you and Garrett both teleported down, resulting in Jinx getting a triple kill. So like,
I meant they didn't need that much help.
yeah. Well,
Like
you guys helped
you could
them. You guys
argue,
helped
right?
Teddy.
You could argue that me and Garrett TPing in and
Yeah,
getting them
yeah.
kills was the help they needed, but no, I mean in the
It was
side
similarly
lane, like
solidly,
Evan and PB had the like early game draft that like was the goal would have been to get them ahead. It just didn't happen. Um,
right?
and then game two, it's the same thing. We draft Lucian Nami trying to get an early game lead. That never really
I think
amounts
that
to
lane is
much.
overrated,
Um,
but
yeah, I mean that could be true. I mean,
President
as Evan
Nami
always likes to
player or
say, just
something.
because something works in our practices, he is silver in flex, so that doesn't actually mean anything. But
Uh,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Rank isn't real.
Yeah, I mean, Garrett and Kai
Uh,
both had really standout performances this game. If
yeah.
Kai didn't get MVP IMO, he deserves to, but I'm pretty sure he
Oh,
did.
I'm almost
Um,
certain he did.
yeah, I
I
mean,
think I
I'd
was the
like to
caster.
say I extended the game a little bit with the Urgot, but I mean, there's only so much we can do. We were able to hit some like nice combo ultis, like Briar Urgot ult both hit, but we just weren't able to find the damage down that we needed to.
Yeah.
And Kai just
No, I'm at a
absolutely
bit of
ran
a rough
away with
start
the
on the
game.
Briar, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Noam
Teddy
had
had
some
some
like
real,
couple of good ganks early, but then
yeah,
I mean, Eric just had a perfect game. He didn't die. Oh, whatever. Like we just
We've been
aren't
seeing a lot of
able
a
to
Moo
kill
duty this
a Mumu.
season.
Yeah, I mean it's
Um,
a like brain dead easy champion that also happens to be really good and blindable, so it makes
yeah.
sense.
Teddy got FNAF jump scared multiple times. That came mainly by got so true on you. But no, I mean Teddy. I think riding the high of that first game on Jinx, with like the double cleanses, sort of went for some MF flank plays in that one.
I mean,
So
with her
I,
strut passive, like you're just running it. Like you think you could not get caught because you're so fast.
yeah,
Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work out that way.
no, but you had Nikolai to back you up, so it all works out at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it was like it took everything we had to like see. Like, we have zero CC on this team comp into mobile champions, and
Right?
there's a lot of mobile champions. So it's like we burn everything we have to either pick off MF or Akali, and then the other one cleans up.
Yeah.
Kai just had some really good roams early in the game and
Wait.
got fed off our
Yes.
bot lane.
He played incredibly well.
Yeah, I mean, Kai just kind of took that one over. Uh, I mean, that was just different rosters, both teams. Definitely a poor matchup set up for us there. Some adaptations we can make, but I don't want to talk too much on it because I'm just going to leak our drafts. But Fruitcake's played really well there. I hope we get to see more of that roster, but we didn't
Oh,
this
absolutely.
week. But anyway, on to our 3-game banger. Starverse
He,
absolutely took over this game. Stanley had a stellar performance. Don't want to talk about the Varus build in any of these games. It hurts me. We did have Protobelt Recon from Bean. I mean, Tusini had a stellar start to the game, but then y'all just started taking fights without him. Got behind, Sarvis got fed, took over the game. This one was, um,
this one was a bit of a jungle, if I will
yeah. I
say.
mean, I don't want to say it's like boring to watch, but it's like there's not much to talk about because it's kind of like Gwen gets a lead and
It's
just
fun to
wins the
watch if
game.
you like Gwen pressing R and melting through
Right.
4 health bars instantly.
It's fun to watch if you don't know that Gwen gets turbo fed, and then at like 8 minutes
Yeah.
you're like, oh, Gwen might pop off, and then she does, and you're validated. But I mean, that's it's kind of where the fun ends. In the second game, we still don't ban Zeri mid. They almost picked Zeri mid into Renata, but they saved
Yeah.
that. And instead, Jacob, I believe you got MVP for this game, popped off.
That is
Um,
what that's what they say.
I don't know if it's
Um,
deserved per se, but I think there's like a lot of people who could have gotten it.
Yeah. Well, no, I think that the casters, 'cause I just watched this one back, were saying like for like both the I guess I'm not gonna spoil the game, but like for this game that it was hard to pick like an MVP, and I
Yeah,
think
I
there was sort of
agree.
just like the novelty of like, wow, Jacob like didn't int in jungle. Wow,
Yeah,
let's give that guy a
yeah,
trophy.
yeah. I mean, they were heavily like, "Oh my God, Metabusters needs to get this guy out of the jungle." And
Yeah.
I mean, no, I don't think that was the issue. I mean, Jackson's support is pretty solid, so I think
Yeah.
keeping him there, and then I mean, Volibear is not a difficult champion.
I think
Like,
it was a really funny bait with the like we have a Volibear one or previous Volibear one trick and a Nami one trick,
yeah,
and
they're swapping each other's champions. It is
yeah.
cute. I will give you guys that. Um,
That was not at all the intention with the draft, but it ended up working out that way. Yeah, Volibear's easy and fun, and I like him when he's cool and a bear, and that's pretty poggers if you ask.
Yeah. I mean, I think this
I don't know.
game kind of worked out the same way that the first game should have worked out because
Yeah.
realistically, these Andromeda drafts are not good. Urgot really struggles to be a top laner in team situations. I mean, we found that out in this series. Like, there are
Yeah.
very specific situations which you can pick Urgot and have it succeed. None of these are it, by the way. You have like Jarvan as like sole engage here. You hope for Vic to get picks. Cyrus did okay. He's not on a champion that can
He got like
1v9.
fed, but then like
Right,
give a fed Jarvan.
right. I mean, like,
So
he can't do much in the late game. Stanley's obviously going to struggle way more because we actually counterpick the Urgot here. Ornn makes your life miserable. You can beat him up until a certain point. Your 9 spike still matters, but I ultimately, like, it's an Ornn. You're not really going to be able to chase him down. He can just build a couple items and your champion becomes useless. And then Honan still is building a build that does 0 damage. The only way that you're able to kill tanks in this game is with the Varus. You need to go the on-hit build. It's the only thing that does any damage. They've nerfed lethality. They've nerfed AP. None of it does anything. You really just have to hope that you hit Jinx with the Renata engage and then pray. I
yeah.
mean, Lux can snipe someone, and if it's not enough, Urgot can pull someone in, and it's not like they didn't have bad plays. Like, everyone's KD here is like fine. Like, they were able to participate in some things, but I mean, this was just a nice play by Metabusters. I don't know. Jinx is a good champion. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it's been like
yeah.
one of like Styles been pulling it out a lot. So
Yeah. I
that's
mean, this is just
yes.
like a super straightforward comp, and they were just able to do the things that they needed to do in a certain point in the game. And this is a somewhat early game comp from Andromeda, but there just isn't enough substance there to actually take over. I also think in
Right.
this game, Metabusters was getting all the objectives which you need to get for Andromeda, but I don't know. Past the point. And then we get to game 3, which was the really fun one. This is a phenomenal draft. Cerberus was on Silas Jungle. Once again, popped off 3 really good games from Cerberus this series.
Yeah.
Tusini on a Vex, which is like the least selfish champion we've seen him play all season, I think. Um,
Dang.
just fine though because he's like running the server. Like, I don't care. They have the Nasus counterpick into the Aphelios. It doesn't matter who's playing top lane. You can just drop Wither onto their ADC. The Wither in this game didn't matter, by the way. Honen's positioning was something. I have some thoughts, but
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he was set up. He got some items. You just need the Aphelios to position in a certain way. Beans Janna, good as always, just wasn't able to get anything
Right.
done. And unfortunately, Vic just got rolled here.
Yeah. Had some
Normally,
pretty good slow fishing going on, but like
yeah,
at a certain point, if your entire team is losing, like what
yeah. I mean, normally his RE is pretty good. I think it's just a bit of an unfortunate one here, or it's just like Tusini diff. But I don't know. But Future had a couple of good plays. Almost got some stuff, or almost like really, really popped off, but he got some stuff done later in the game.
Yeah.
I feel like
I
there's a
mean, there
play
was a
where he
play at the
just like
very
TP'd
end.
bot and he just like
Yes.
1v2'd.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it was
Yep. And
disgusting.
then we took Baron, and then like game was over. It was crazy.
Yep.
But no,
Yeah. I mean,
Future's
late
really
game
good.
cog is good. Someone was saying in Twitch chat that they didn't think Stav was going to get to use his passive once that game. He got to use it twice, which is fewer deaths than anyone on the other team.
Real.
But I don't know. I mean, you should just watch the series. It was good. They're
Yeah, it's a really
they're
good
all
one.
fun games to watch.
Yeah.
Even if you already know who wins, I feel like it's worth it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Metabusters doing Metabusters things. I don't think, or at least like recent Metabusters things. They're not
Yeah.
Metabusting. They're just playing well and winning, which is not.
Yeah, that's the Metabusters play
that's
well
not.
and win.
That's not quite it. But as of recently, it has been. And
Yeah.
now we're on to the new era of Psycho Carrot, I guess, where he stays a top laner.
No. Yeah. No, he's the top lane goat. Well,
Yeah, except he's not. This
well,
was rough. He was down half CS in both of these games around like 8 minutes. Korn was at like 80. He was at like 40. It was worse at some points.
I mean,
Yeah, so you can put someone on Ornn duty. Who is he playing against?
Korn. I don't know why you
Bean.
would.
He was
Okay.
against Bean in the other
Okay.
series.
Oh yeah. I was
And
in
he
this
still
year. I don't know
didn't
why
do
we're betting
well.
the Gragas. I don't know where the Gragas. Like you think Fujin play jungle, but like giving like
Wait,
Corn
yeah,
like the
where? Why
Darius
was the
into
Gragas banned?
I don't know because Future plays at
Both
top. I'm not.
games? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
So like,
guess.
but like I don't know. Giving Corn the Darius 2 games in a row is like I mean
Yeah,
empirically a very bad idea.
it's rough.
Yeah.
I mean, and then we give Tusini, Vlad, and Zeri, both champions who had been permanent against him previously. I mean, I don't think we can go over the series without shouting out the fact that Taxi dropped a pentakill. It was kind of
Are
fucking
you sure?
hype.
I think we can go without talking
I don't
about
think
it. I
it
don't know. I don't know.
affected it, but I mean, you
Ooh.
gotta shout out the pentas when they happen, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. No, true,
I
true,
mean,
true.
Psycho Carrot was non-existent in this series. I think he had one Ornn ulti that actually impacted the games, but I think that was it. Like I think it was like one button press. Well, two because it's a double cast, but
Yeah. I
that
mean, we
impacted the
were just like,
series
oh, we
at
can
all.
end, and then.
Yeah, but I mean, Corrin was basically just like free farming top lane, got super fed, did a lot in both games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we did mention it already, but Neela into Twitch, really good counter. You just get Jaxi for your entire team. No one can hit you, and then you just dash in and pop people. Um, and all of their immediate hard CC is actually auto attack dependent because
Mhm.
Leona Q is the good one there that you need to auto. Same thing with Udyr. So there's actually no way to really stop the Neela, um, which is just a bit interesting. But then, I
No,
mean,
I'm
you have
talking who
two
got
scaling.
MVP.
What?
Who got MVPs? Do you know? I
It
think it was
was
Corn, and
Tusini.
then
Oh, it was
it was Corn game one for sure.
Corn and Stop. That's what it was. Tusini
Oh
got
yeah, yeah,
robbed.
yeah.
Loki. But
I don't know, I feel like that's been a
uh,
kind of recurring thing where everyone's always like, "Oh yeah, Tom is like the second choice for MVP," but like never gets it.
I mean,
Yeah,
I believe what they said is that Tusini deserves it. We're just giving to Corn because he doesn't get them as often, which is like that.
which is also
Actually,
what happened to me. Like I don't know.
not the way you should be doing these things, to be
What do you
clear.
mean? No, no,
But
no, no, no.
uh, I guess
You're
it
just a hater.
benefits Jacob, sure. Um, but yeah, I mean, bot lane for 101 Thieves won early
Yeah,
and mid
yes.
both games. They're very good.
Yeah.
Taxi had really good plays in the first game. The Aurora was not as good, but was still pretty solid. Just not able to find it. And I feel like Jonah had some one-off, two-off plays that were really good. I think he might have just had too much of a topside focus trying to bail out Carrot. But I mean, you see Corn like under your tower the entire game, and you're like,
Yeah.
hey, maybe I can kill this guy, which he did, like consistently.
Many times. Yeah, I think there was like a 3 minute like dive from Corn and Future one of the games. Like it, or not 3 minutes, like 4 minutes. It was
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. I
I don't
mean,
know, but
it's like,
Carrot apparently was winning at some point.
yeah,
So
I, I, I'm not buying that shit.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I think there's an extent to which you can just throw someone top lane who doesn't really play top lane and you'll get something out of it. And I think this is just not one of those situations. Corn is definitely someone who can punish, knows what he's doing top lane. Um, Bean is a pretty solid top lane player too, but he's just not going to be able to, he doesn't really have the champ pool to run these lanes like Corn does.
Mhm.
Although it's pretty easy, you just pick the areas and just like
Yeah.
play the game. I don't know. That's just me, but um, I mean, it just felt like 101 Thieves like had most of the pieces to the puzzle, just like put them together like backwards and upside down somehow. It's like I
Oh,
don't
like
know,
reassigning roles.
so true. But I mean, it's like going into the series. It's like, or like in each of these games, they have a pretty like I don't know if they had a lead in both games, but they had like something that you could
There
turn
were
into an
leads in
advantage in both
lanes.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just kind of fell apart. I mean, Taxi got his like ass run at the beginning of game
Yeah.
one, which you wouldn't be able to tell by the scoreline, and he played a very good game after 15 minutes. It
Right.
just wasn't there, unfortunately. I think maybe his mouse wasn't working for this game. His mouse wasn't working for one of the games, but
I think that was
it might have only
next.
been for Saturday.
I think it was only for the next series.
Yeah,
But or at least it
but
wasn't mentioned for the series.
yeah. I mean, also it's like just tough to really punish the Vladimir as Syndra
Yeah.
early,
Yeah.
and you
I mean
have
that build
a
is like
Sejuani
disgusting.
living there. Yeah, I mean it's rough, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, this was a series. I feel like top was just the difference there,
Yeah.
because you have to spend some time focusing on that, and then Corn is still getting a lot done. Um, but I mean, it's not like mid bot support jungle played super terribly here. And like I don't know, I'm not trying to like harp on one person, but I mean I think
I mean,
I
the
don't know.
scorelines tell a story. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's basically where the games went.
Yeah.
I mean really good performances from Meta Busters, but I mean you're gonna have to if you want to even out with the bot side for 101 Thieves. You got to be good because they're good too. But um, I don't know. Cards just didn't fall the way 101 Thieves wanted them to. However, they
Right.
did for these more recent games. Um, my computer's not charging.
Oh.
That's fine though. I have a lot of battery left. I just happened to look down and see it. Okay. But yeah, I mean these drafts from Fruitcakes are disgusting, distasteful. Um, I don't know. They banned Twitch. That's a good start. They banned
Yeah.
Leona.
Good job.
That's also good.
Fantastic.
Um, Psycho Carrot Jungle is apparently cracked. Uh, Go figure. I think this adaptation is actually really good. He's
The
not in a
support
lane
to
where he can't
jungle
be
meta has
punished.
been crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean support and jungle are actually like pretty similar roles. You just need to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
around to the fact that you need to clear environment stuff. But I feel like if you're a support who roams a lot, which I feel like you and Psycho Carrot both are, it's not that
Right.
crazy of an adaptation to make. And then Jonah's already played top lane, so um, not too much of a change for him.
Right.
Going into Arne is tough. He didn't end up positive in either lane, but honestly, I don't expect someone to, as someone who has to blind both games.
Right.
Um, and it's into Arne, like, good luck. Like, I think I think Jonah performed pretty well this series. First game, I don't know what Fruitcakes is going for with their composition, so I don't really know what to say about their draft because I don't see the vision at all. I mean,
I guess
Zach is
yeah.
decent engage. You have Rakan to follow up, but then you don't have DPS. So
LeBlanc.
you're looking for more
Yeah.
of like a pick engage, whereas Rakan's more of like a drop all your abilities at once in a big team fight where you're trying to catch everyone. But then Jax isn't really there to play with the team because he wants to split push.
Right.
And same with LeBlanc. So like you're trying to just drop Zach and Rakan engage to have Kathy just ult the entire team, but
I
you
think Eric was just trying
have
to ego. Is my prediction. I think they just said, guys, we need like Eric to just like get ahead, and then Kathy can like scale up, and then that did not happen. Like they were
yeah.
just trying to
I
like,
mean,
but
it's
like
taxi mid though. Like he's
right.
good, and Lissandra's
Yeah.
up, and you pick LeBlanc, who's was really good, but just got nerfed, so she's not good. And like everyone and their mom counters LeBlanc. I don't know. It's rough. I feel like if we had like a Victor or like an Ori or something here, like Oriana actually like
Oh,
destroys this
true.
team.
Yes, disgusting.
Because you have like Zach, Jax, Rakan. I don't know. But like LeBlanc is just like try to pick off one target, which I mean is Jinx. Like I'll give you that. Like there's
Yeah.
something there, but I mean you're playing into Braum. Like I think Braum was shown early,
Yeah.
and I mean he
Yeah.
just kind of ruins all of this because he just
Right.
shuts down the MF ulti. Can
Yeah.
you pull up the draft order? I want to see if MF was picked
Yeah. Let me get
before
that.
Braum.
Nom in chat told he still thought LeBlanc was like OP.
Oh
All
yeah,
right, let me pull up that draft link.
that's not quite it.
All right. So for game one, it was ignoring bans. It was Jinx, then MF Rakan, Braum and Mumu, and then Zach,
Okay. Okay.
followed
So
by
so at least
LeBlanc,
MF was picked
Lissandra,
before
Darius.
Braum. That's like the big thing.
But like,
But
why?
then you continue to go for just damage with the MF. But
Yeah.
I don't know. And I mean, Arne like did really well in lane, like and like performed well in top and got stuff done. It's just you don't really have a team fighting champion,
Right.
which kind of shuts you down. And I don't know. I mean, Psycho Carrot's just on a Mumu, brain dead champion. I don't know. 101 Thieves just played well, and I think the burden of them to execute this game was pretty low, just considering what draft they're playing into. And moving on to the next game, it's like basically the same thing. Like, I guess we cooked by giving Arnier counter pick, but in reality, what we did is we picked a subpar jungler
I forgot we
And
had the double no pick top this draft.
oh
I was
yeah, no,
like,
I was watching this back and I'm like, what the hell is happening?
yeah, I
But
don't know.
yeah,
The
I
four v
mean,
four.
yeah. So what happens here is you pick Jax early as a flex, which I mean, I guess you're onto something. But Jonah's obviously going to counterpick it. He can play any champion,
Right.
so you're going to have to flex Jax back into the jungle, which gives you nothing because I don't believe
Right.
Jax is very good in the jungle right now.
Yeah.
And we already know Arnier with counterpick is going to get some stuff done, but can't carry the game, right? So for fruitcakes, we've locked in winning top, which didn't really win,
Yeah. I
and we've
mean,
locked in mediocre jungle just by picking Jax early.
right.
Um, I think the Lux was at least picked into Lissandra. This I don't hate.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
Well,
also
so
good at picking off Jinx if you can land it, but
yeah.
it's still into Braum. And we did the
Um,
same thing that we did the previous game with MF Rakan, and Rakan can't play the game into Braum.
yeah. I think Taxi gave some insight into in the post game interview. He gave some insight into the like mid matchup drafting because
Yeah.
picking mid like blue three is like wasn't just strategy, but the insight he was talking about how didn't want any of like more of his picks to get banned out, and he just figured
Yeah.
that Eric's pool, like the play style he was going for in that comp, just like he had nothing, and he was right. I mean, they just played that really well in draft.
Yeah. I mean,
Obviously not a top
I don't know.
laner.
I mean, if you're going to be able to go 7, 3, and 10 on Lissandra into a unfavorable matchup, I think that kind of tells you all you need to know. Also,
Yeah,
you already see Rakan flipped, and Sandra's good into that guy. He dashes in, he's rooted immediately. I don't know. It's also like you've now picked 3 melee champions that need to like be right up in your face into a Braum who still counters MF ulti and like just Lux as a champion.
right.
I don't know. It's rough. It's rough.
Why is Rakan positive into Braum? That doesn't seem right.
I think
Like just like
Rakan,
statistically.
like overall or in our survey,
No, like overall, like it's like 53% for Rakan.
I think Rakan might just be a better champion right now.
Yeah,
Be my
because like
guess.
it feels like the matchup would just like, I mean, Braum just disengages the Rakan. Like I don't know.
Right. And if
Rakan is a counter
Braum
for the
can
Braum.
get
I
a
don't know.
single auto or Q off on Rakan, Rakan's just dead.
Dead. Yeah.
But I mean, maybe there's tech that I don't understand, but Dominic certainly made it work this series.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
I think after you play it once, you should at least like adapt to something else. But
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I mean, Zaya actually was banned both games, which I think is significant here. But
Mm,
yeah, I mean, Udyr Lilia taken away too. I mean, honestly, like if Jinx is getting locked in here, like I probably would have just preferred to see Hecarim and like just pray. But um, I mean, I get why he
I
wouldn't
mean,
want to do that because it's
certainly
super
over the
expected,
Jax,
right?
but
So there's definitely
I
something
mean,
there. But
yeah.
I mean, I know Mason has a really good champion pool. I think you probably could go something other than Jax, but
Yeah.
I mean, funny flex, I guess. But I mean, Psycho Carrot played pretty solidly on these
Oh
jungle
yeah.
picks. I mean, they're pretty just straightforward, engage, tanky champions. So um, nothing too crazy to call it there. And then the bot side is just like you've picked the same 3 champions 2 games in a row. It's a really solid strategy.
Right.
The way this team is looking to play, it's like scrappy early game kind of snowball things with Jax is like a late game insurance, kind of. I don't know. It's kind of not super cohesive, and it plays
Right.
exactly into what Lissandra Jinx Braum wants to do, which is play safe until mid game, completely shut down any plays that they go for in the mid game with Lissandra Braum, and then you have scaling with Jinx. I don't know. I don't know how much more there is to say here, really. But I
Yeah. I
mean,
feel like it was
101
pretty open in
Thieves
chat.
executed really well. Taxi played
Truly.
super solidly this series. Will played really well. Dominic, as always, really good on support.
Yeah. Really
And
consistent.
then Jonah and Psycho Carrot had good enough games that it didn't like
The
they
roll
weren't
stop
at the
works.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I
And
don't
I
know.
believe for this one, MVP game one was Taxi, and then it was the Wheel for game two.
Yeah,
But
I mean, Will
yeah,
is
those guys
beating the Jinx allegations, I guess. I think he's
real.
13 and 14 now.
Ooh, okay.
I prayed
Making
for
the
times
back.
like this when he hits 14-14 or 15-15 or whatever it happens, but I'm a Will Jinx believer
114.
personally,
Oh yeah,
but
no, he's correct.
yeah. But I think we killed a good 30 minutes there, so that means it's full D sheet time.
Yeah. Noam did message me asking or saying he is free to if we need for a segment or something.
Okay.
So if you,
I with this scuff
but
setup, I might just
oh
prefer a
true.
shorter episode.
Yes.
But
Fuck you, Noam.
so true. But can can stream see everything on
It's
this?
pretty
Oh,
low
yeah,
res, but
that's
it
okay.
works.
I'll talk in a way that makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
okay. But anyway, our expected number of tied teams here is 2.75, which means this is a terrible number. It doesn't actually really define the way it should, but it means that we're expecting a tie and like probably another one. But it's more likely to be a three-way tie than two four-team or like two team ties. But right now the standings, I believe, are 1, 2, 3 tie for fourth. Pretty sure. That will
uh,
eventually.
yes,
Yes,
yeah.
1, 2, 3 tie for fourth. But yeah, I mean, Metabusters obviously huge chances to end up in first place. They can still technically tie for third and put themselves in fourth, but there's only one scenario in which that happens,
Mm,
which oh oops, cannot. Oh, I can't scroll sideways. New York Nutbusters is not it, but you know
hello?
what? That's fine. MVP rank?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure. My bad. We'll update that at some point.
yeah.
Um, you know what? That's fine. The
They're still here in our
scenario in
spirits.
which they tie for third is if they don't win any more games. So 101 Thieves beats them. 101 Thieves beats Andromeda. Rift Sharks beats Metabusters. Fruitcakes beats Metabusters. Fruitcakes beats Andromeda, and Rift Sharks beats 101 Thieves. So in
Mm,
order for Metabusters to tie with, I believe that's Fruitcakes, which
that's
means that Metabusters would have to get 2-0'd by Fruitcakes here.
right.
Very unlikely. It is interesting that Andromeda would have to also lose all their games. Not what I
Right.
would have predicted, but I guess it's just like Andromeda just has to like eat shit, and then Fruitcakes has to do well and steal them. Oh my god, that
Huh.
was so loud. I hope that wasn't too bad for people on stream.
Well, I didn't hear anything in call.
Well, it was just my Adobe Acrobat as your default PDF
Oh.
viewer. Awesome.
Maybe, yeah,
But
maybe Shroom did hear it then.
yeah, no, they definitely did. It was like louder than you, so it's
Oh
probably loud
God.
for them too. But
Awesome.
anyway, the straight up placement for Andromeda and Fruitcakes is basically equal. They have 20 out of 64 possibilities of them each ending in fifth.
Mm,
6 for fourth and 4 for third, but their ties are kind of all over the place. Andromeda's in a slightly better position than Fruitcakes here, just because they're more likely to tie for second and less likely to tie for third. But I mean, we're like, this is 4 possibilities out of 64. It's not a super likely
yeah.
thing. It's a 1 in 16, so like 8-ish% chance of them doing better. Like it's not super
Yeah.
significant. And then looking at Rift Sharks and 101 Thieves, who are kind of like the 2-3 teams right now.
Mhm.
Um, Rift Sharks is definitely in a worse position, but um, there's
Not
always
like
hope.
significantly.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah.
I think what really comes down to it is it's going to be 101 Thieves versus Rift Sharks is going to be super
Yeah.
impactful.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they're kind of in that race for second right now. I feel like Metabusters is likely going to just be fine. Because they have what 34 plus 18 is their chance. That's what 54,
Holy.
52,
Yeah.
52. 52 out of 64 that they're going to end up in first or second. And
Yeah.
realistically, with this bracket format, like those are the two spots that you really want. Getting
Right.
first doesn't matter as much as it does previously because you don't actually get to pick your first round opponent. You just get to
Because
pick
of the yeah.
half chance of your first round opponent, which is interesting. But what you
Yeah.
really don't want is you don't want to be third, because then you can qualify well and someone can still force you to be in the play-in and have to play an extra game. Um,
Yeah.
so
XD.
that's kind of what you want to avoid. It's a bit goofy, but
If you think it's
it's
goofy, get your friends in here and we
right.
get rid of the 5 teams.
Yes,
Play
then we
more
could play
players.
6 teams, which I mean,
Yeah.
fingers crossed, I think is going to happen. But
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
like get signups going in the off season, get people
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Metabusters can also just finish cleanly in third, which I guess we can just go ahead and look at that too. Metabusters
Yeah.
is
How does
the
that look?
third column, which is here. So that is the same thing as the other one, except
Except
Andromeda beats Fruitcakes,
okay. Okay. So
which
that's
would
like
put Fruitcakes in
hmm,
fourth and Metabusters in third.
okay, and that makes sense because okay, because Andromeda wins hmm. Wait, no, I guess that doesn't matter because Andromeda is up in like the 1v1 versus Metabusters
Yeah,
because it was a
actually, yeah. So if
2-0 and
Andromeda
2-1
and Metabusters tie,
tie, then Andromeda is
let me
first.
see if there's any possibilities in which they actually tie with each other, which
Almost certainly, right?
I would actually doubt that a little bit.
Oh, really?
Because there aren't that many scenarios in which Metabusters ties, and I think in most of them, Andromeda isn't
It's with
dead
fruitcakes,
last.
right? Oh,
No,
true.
okay, there
Huh.
is one scenario where it's a second place. There's a couple scenarios where it's a second place tie
Okay.
between them, and it
And in that
requires.
case, we get third.
Okay,
Huh.
101 Thieves Rift Sharks doesn't matter for that, which makes sense. Rift Sharks needs to beat Andromeda, or Metabusters. Andromeda needs to beat 101 Thieves, and then Fruitcakes needs to beat Metabusters. 101 Thieves needs to beat Metabusters again, or not again,
Yeah.
for the first time. Sorry,
Yeah.
blanking there. That is the scenario where that could matter. Again, I think that's pretty unlikely. I feel like Metabuster's probably going to win more series. So we can probably just lock them in for first,
Woo!
a very slight second. 101 Thieves is most likely to end up in second, still has legitimate shots at first, would
Yeah.
have to beat Metabusters for sure. Definitely has to beat Andromeda. That would be a tough loss for them to just toss away. And then has shots for first if they can also beat Rift Sharks. But I mean, I think it's pretty unlikely. The 101 Thieves Metabusters game that we just saw was not super close. Also, let me update this real
I
quick.
mean, I don't
The
know. It's
match.
interesting because
Actually, I
the
can't. Hold on. Let me
oh
swap my accounts real quick.
the one thieves like roster has been a bit up in the air as of recent. Well, I guess it hasn't been. They've been playing the same thing for a bit, but um I don't think it was like the planned roster going into the season. So
Definitely not.
not sure if that will change with the end of the season, and because if they've been settling into a play pattern that might work, how that might disrupt that is still to be seen. Because we see the carrot jungle meta. Are we gonna is it just gonna disappear right in front of our eyes? Who knows? That is up to them to figure out, I suppose.
Yeah. I did update this, so I'm actually talking about the right things here. This should be the actual order the games get played in. So I think a lot of situations go out the door if for the two week
If
7
yeah,
games the expected team wins.
right.
Um, if I just pencil that in real quick,
Ooh,
yeah, I think that
yeah.
locks things down. Oh wait, I just said Andromeda was going to win. Okay, that's why it didn't do what I thought it would.
Oh,
Yeah, that would essentially lock these two teams in 4-5. They have slight
okay.
chances to tie for third,
But like,
which
so
would
Metabusters
be
would be locked for first, and then not or locked for second, first or second, right?
yeah.
Interesting.
And I believe they would be tied for third against Rift Sharks in
Wait,
the majority
which
of these
okay, yeah,
scenarios. I'm not seeing fruitcakes. Yeah. So they would be tied with Rift Sharks in these scenarios because basically 101 Thieves just got to win. So of course that's going to be how it works out.
right,
But so I assume then those would go away if Rift Sharks was able to grab a win against either of the top two teams currently. But
right,
I mean, I think that pretty much solidifies things. But again, the third place spot is the one you really want to avoid.
yeah,
So I think once we kind of get those games played, it'll be a lot more interesting
yeah.
to figure out.
Like with the way this next week ended up being scheduled, led to an interesting shakeup of that sort of tree of possibilities. Um, Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know. These are, I mean, I guess on paper, like not like pretty unbalanced matchups, like based on the way things have been going. So
Yeah, I mean, you
we'll have to
have
see if
top
that
two
plays out.
versus bottom two. I
Right.
do want to pull something up here. I was just kind of drawing shit around. At the end of week
Oh,
five,
banana.
yeah, I figured maybe. Okay. Um, okay, this might be a little rough. I'm gonna see if we can grab this. Okay. Yeah, okay. This is a little fucked up, but it should say standings on our screen. Okay, cool. We're good.
Oh, awesome.
Except maybe banana.
Oh,
Okay.
I love this.
Okay, we're good. But anyway, this is true after week 5. I'm gonna have to do some editing once we get back to the other weeks. But
Yeah.
at the top, you have 101 Thieves and Metabusters who have beat one of the bottom two teams, but have also lost to one of the bottom two teams. Um, as of week 5, Rift Sharks was perfectly seeded. They had lost to all the teams above them and beaten all the teams below them. We're actually tied with Fruitcakes right now. Tiebreaker would come down to a bunch of different things. I think the likelihood that we actually do end up tying with Fruitcakes is pretty low.
Hmm.
But it would come down to a few tiebreakers. I believe Fruitcakes hasn't been involved in any 3-game series, while Rift Sharks has been involved in a 3-game series that we won, which actually puts us
Right.
at a disadvantage because you want the 3-game series to be the ones that you lose.
Yeah.
So that could be a little interesting, but the top two teams hadn't played yet. Metabusters now have, which changes things, but Andromeda had played Fruitcakes and had beaten them once. So things actually made sense as kind of like this top cluster going down, but the bottom teams are still competitive with the top teams, which was
Yeah.
interesting. Anyway, after 2 of the games in week 5 were played, we entered this situation, which is not the case anymore. So I'm going to need to remake this. But
Yeah.
that put Metabusters and Rift Sharks at the top, and Rift Sharks had not beaten another one of the top 3 teams. Metabusters has beaten every team once, but hasn't been able to beat a team twice,
Right.
which is interesting. But both Rift Sharks and Metabusters are 1-1 against the bottom 2 team, which is different than what we had the previous week because they had beaten one and lost to another. So we
Hmm.
hadn't seen that kind of like rematch happen. I don't know if 101 Thieves is going to end up in the situation.
Who can say?
101, this is not actually accurate. I don't know why I said they were perfectly seated. That
Oh.
is not true. Um,
Uh, Dean's a liar.
because, yeah, sorry. Um,
Get this guy out of here.
yeah, hold on. Let me.
Ooh.
Where's my. Okay, and now I can't delete. I swear it's just fucked up on this computer.
I don't know. Gameplay just like doesn't work a lot of the time for me.
I deleted everything somehow. I like never have issues with it except
Oh,
today.
really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like
Oh
selection just
wait,
like
okay, I'm stupid. No,
bugs.
I did the foreground instead of the background. That one was on me. Okay.
Uh,
So anyway, 101 Thieves is 2-2, but they have beaten different team. They're kind of all over the place. And then Andromeda's actually dropped a series to every team except for Fruitcakes. So I was really excited to get to see them play against each other next week, except that didn't happen
right.
because of scheduling
Nope.
things. So
Yeah.
what we're going to do is I'm going to go back to the season. I'm going to grab the current standings and we're going to do the same shit.
Ooh. Yeah.
Oh my
Hell yeah.
god. Sorry guys, Snipping Tool decided that it was the one that mattered today. Not
Yeah.
your ears, which, sure, valid.
Whenever I'm streaming,
But
I always just like mute system sounds because it's always like miserable.
yeah, I mean, I just haven't gotten around to doing that on this laptop. I want to have them muted always, but
Oh, I keep them open, but I just like
oh,
mute them every
they're
time I go live.
awful.
They
My
are awful.
desktop
I
is
just hate
I've like
myself.
butchered everything Windows. Like it's just gone. I'm like none of
That's
this
so
shit is
real.
happening. Okay, so anyway, in this
Yeah.
scenario, Rift Sharks are in fact perfectly seated
Let's go.
because all the teams above them have a losing record to all the teams below them they have a winning or even record in 2. It makes sense. Then we're back to 101 Thieves. What team have they played twice? Is it
Um,
it's
it,
Fruitcakes,
it's
right?
fruitcakes, right? Yeah, I think so.
Because they still have a game against Metabusters, they still have a
Yes,
game against Rift Sharks, and they still have a game against Andromeda. Are they
yes, yeah.
1-1 against Fruitcakes?
Um, fucking. Well, okay. I'm just gonna pull up the VODs.
Oh, you can just scroll
Um,
through the season 8 page. That might be the
oh
easiest
my
way
god,
to
it
do
shows
it.
who won. That's crazy. So Fruitcake's won the first time, and
Okay,
then
so
okay,
yeah, so they're now
okay, awesome.
1-1 against uh bottom two team. So same thing that we saw previously.
And
Then we
yeah,
have
yeah,
perfect seated in the middle, and then we can draw our little arrow punching down. Metabusters over 101 Thieves, and then we
you, I
had
feel like past
back
few seasons have
here.
it's been like really well balanced.
Yeah. If you
That's
yeah
crazy.
yeah. Um,
I mean,
But
like,
yeah, so I mean, now
yeah,
we've actually kind of stabilized out pretty well. These none of these like weird things that were happening are like there anymore. But I mean, Rift
yeah,
Sharks has just like like I think this is
yeah.
actually good because these two teams over Rift Sharks, and then Rift
They
Sharks
bleed.
somewhat over these. I definitely had a better pen setting when I did this previously, and I wasn't trying to do it live. But
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
think this makes sense. And then
yeah.
Andromeda kind of dunks on Metabusters because they've beaten them, and then Fruitcake's kind of dunks on
Wait.
101 Thieves because they've
Oh,
beaten
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah. I think you
But
said that Metabusters. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is okay. I'm loving
yeah,
these eras.
which I think why this works, like because of this, that's why Andromeda is slightly higher than Fruitcake's in terms of tiebreakers, but maybe
Because they've
not.
beaten.
It might actually
Um,
be because they haven't played. I think it's because Andromeda hasn't played 101 Thieves twice, and they're more likely to take down 101 Thieves.
right.
That might be it. I don't know. The math is not mathing. The point of the Foldy sheet is because you can't figure this shit out in your head because there's too many possibilities.
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
just
yeah,
generate all of them, and you don't need to worry about it.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of all the
Perfectly
interesting
balanced as all things
stuff
should be.
there is to talk about. But yeah, I mean, I think something else that we can kind of look at is like what
Hmm.
matchups haven't happened yet, and that's
Right.
this, 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 that, that. What am I missing? Who has Metabusters not played twice? Oh,
Fruitcake.
everyone
Everyone
but
except for
Andromeda.
Andromeda.
So this should be 6 little loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Andromeda has to play Fruitcakes, which I think is going to
Yeah, so this is good
determine.
for Andromeda, I feel. Like,
Yeah. So
huh.
Andromeda gets to get one of their games right out of the way, and Fruitcakes also gets to get one of their games right out of the way. I feel like the bottom to top seeding, you could probably chalk that one up. But if they're able to pull something out with like the Hong RNA roster and get something going again,
Right.
I think that could help them out a lot. But what really comes down to it is Andromeda has beaten Fruitcakes already.
Yeah.
If Fruitcakes takes that back, then
I
that's
mean, it's over.
actually huge because
Yeah.
Fruitcakes has scored a win against Rift Sharks, which puts them in a really good position actually, because we're kind of the middle ground team, and Andromeda
Right.
has not been able to beat Rift Sharks. So that game is going to matter a lot. And why fifth seed is important is because fifth seed is the one that has to play in the play-in. You can't get bailed out
Yeah.
by that first seed team. So I think Fruitcakes should honestly just scrap all the prep versus Metabusters. Just start rooting for 101 Thieves. Just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
DM them, say don't put Psycho Carrot in top
Yeah,
lane.
get some draft
Get that shit
practice.
out of
Just
here.
like,
Right. And then Fruitcake should focus on figuring out how to draft versus Andromeda and then just execute on that. Now,
true.
I'm not going to help them on how to do that because that would
Yeah,
be illicit. Um,
yeah. Good thing none of them watched the
but
podcast.
that's true. Mason is definitely not watching this episode.
No, no.
We can be real here.
Yeah,
But anyway, I mean, I think that's what they should really be focusing on here. And
yeah.
Andromeda should just try to clutch out and beat Fruitcakes again. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think that's really all it comes down to. But Andromeda also can try to find an angle to steal a game off 101 Thieves, which I think puts them in a really good position. I do want to
Yeah,
double check the Foldy sheet. I don't think this is going to be on the stream, but Andromeda can still tie for second. And I think as long as they're not tying for second with Rift Sharks, I think they're actually in a pretty good position to win. Because they've had some pretty solid series, and they have that game diff advantage from taking a game off of Rift
yeah.
Sharks in the 3 series where they lost. But Kind of ignoring the lower bracket then. So we're gonna ignore all. We're actually just gonna ignore that one game between Andromeda and Fruitcakes. If I can figure out a way to do that,
Nice.
I'm just gonna. Sure. That looks great. Um, but anyway, 101
Yeah,
Thieves
yeah.
has to play all of the other top 4 teams. Metabusters
Jesus.
also has to play all the other top 4 teams. Like, okay, I guess I have to play the other top 2 teams and then the bottom one. So strength of
Right.
schedule is pretty bad for both 101 Thieves and Metabusters. It just kind of comes down to who do you think is stronger between Andromeda and Fruitcakes, which at this point, I think you can go either way because Andromeda has
Yeah.
proven in the head-to-head that they're better, whereas Fruitcakes has taken a game off of a stronger team. And then Rift Sharks only has to play the top 2 teams, which I think puts them in the worst situation yet. So, I mean, I think it's likely that we could end up in a scenario where it's kind of like a tie for the bottom 3, and it's really just going to be
Yeah.
101 Thieves versus Metabusters at the top. But if Metabusters just
Hehe.
able to thrash 101 Thieves again,
Which
then
is
I
gonna
think it
happen,
gets
of
interesting
course.
for Rift Sharks versus 101 Thieves. But
Yeah.
I don't know. And I mean, Rift Sharks isn't playing next week, so I think that really opens it up. So they're going to be ending out the season playing against these other 2 top teams. I think those games are going to be really important, which should be pretty interesting. But that means that Metabusters and 100 with Thieves is also going to happen late in addition to this other series. So I think these like first 2
It's gonna have a
games
lot
that we're
of
going to
built-up
see.
tension for the.
Right. Yeah. Like we're eliminating all the crazy long shot possibilities or validating all the crazy long
Yeah,
shot
yeah, yeah.
possibilities with
I think this
this
order is gonna
game
be pretty hype.
and this game.
Well,
But
yeah.
all the crazy like intense stuff that is really going to matter, like this absolute clusterfuck of the top teams all playing each other,
Yeah.
and then Andromeda versus Fruitcakes trying to grab that or avoid the 5th seed
Yeah.
should be kind of towards the end of the season, which can be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But
It's gonna
anyway,
be it's gonna be good. It's gonna be
yeah,
good.
there's a lot that can happen. So kind of just excited to watch it. But I don't
Absolutely.
know. If you have to just like long shot, um, who are your teams that are making it to finals? Like, what's your call?
Oh, that's tough. I all right. I'm gonna be. I think Andromeda's not making it.
Okay.
I just feel like we've seen a lot of like roster instability with them, or not instability, but like I feel like they had a really strong start to the season, especially like the win over Metabusters at the beginning. And then I feel like we've seen a lot of like different rosters pop up that like have all been good, but like taking for example like Metabusters to game 3, but like aren't able to close it out necessarily. And I fear that that might continue to the end of the season. So I think that my prediction is keeping the current standings except switching Fruitcakes over Andromeda.
Gotcha. Yeah, that is a good point. I didn't remember that they had beaten that game off Metabusters, even though we just talked about it. I think that actually
Yeah,
puts them in
because
a
that was
really
the very
good
first
position.
Metabusters series and Andromeda series, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think Andromeda is just in a really good position for tiebreakers, so it's easier for them to grab
Mm-hmm.
a good spot. But I think what we're going to see is I think we're going to see um, Rift Sharks and Metabusters in the semis somehow. I just
Yeah,
like I
yeah,
have a
yeah,
gut
yeah,
feeling that
yeah.
that's going to happen. I feel like we're going
No,
to get
I
third,
feel
and I
it.
feel like Metabusters is just going to be like, "Fuck you, you're going into the
Yeah,
play-in," um, which
neither confirmed or
might
denied.
be
I
our
love that.
chance to play Andromeda again. But I feel like maybe we'll be into fruitcakes. Hard to know. But I think 101 Thieves, if they do end up in second, I think is probably going to be able to. Dude, I actually don't know. That's such a coin flip.
Yeah, no, because I feel like
So
even from the
like,
beginning that the people was just like, oh, 101 Thieves is like the coin flip team, and like it's been like for me
they
completely
flipped.
different
They
than the
flipped
way
a
that I
lot of
expected.
heads.
But like, yeah, like they've been like really like doing
Yeah.
really crazy stuff, which like is really fun as like a spectator. As like a competitor to them, terrifying. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But just like watching it, being a fan, like it's awesome.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, just for comedy, I think the
Mm-hmm.
finals are either going to be Rift Sharks versus Fruitcakes out of fucking left field.
Oh,
That
okay, okay.
that's the unlikely possibility, right?
Uh huh.
And then we have like the Mason and I grudge match for funny.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Noam and Mason are gonna like kill each other in person after this series.
Yeah.
Or what I think is likely going to happen is we're just going to see Metabusters versus 101 Thieves.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I would like to happen, as a fan, not as a player,
Right. Right.
I
Right.
would want to see Metabusters versus Andromeda rematch.
Yeah, no, I think that would be really because I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
Andromeda
think
took it first, and then it was a it went to 3 games. So like, I
right.
feel like there's like these two teams have like
Yeah, I mean Andromeda
vertical
is up
easily.
in the season series so far. They
Yeah,
won last season. They had played each other twice in playoffs. There was the whole like Metabusters ran the wrong roster, all that shit going on. Like there's
yeah, yeah.
beef, there's plot. It's fun. I think what
And
we
then
could
we
see
got rid of the dead weight
happen.
of Noah.
Right. So true. I think what could happen here, fingers crossed for the fucking
Yeah,
like plot, right? Is
I
that
love you, Noah.
Andromeda either gets fourth or third, they get thrown on the opposite side of Metabusters. This is assuming Metabusters is going to end first because I feel like it's so hard for them to choke it at this point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But they choose not to play Andromeda early because they're Scrim Zone fans.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
know what's going to happen. Also, I feel like they have a bad matchup into them historically, so why pick them on your side, right? Um, so then you throw Andromeda on the other side. Andromeda just like miracle wins versus 101 Thieves or Rift Sharks or whoever they're against. Metabusters just does Metabuster things and does well, and then we get the fucking hype ass finals. But
No, that's
um,
the if we have
who knows?
hopefully the the writers did some cooking this season.
Yeah,
One can only hope.
I don't know. I think anything is going to be really fun. I think it's
Yeah,
hard to
yeah.
draw a dud. I think this is definitely the closest season we've had of Scrim Zone,
I think
and
almost certainly, yeah.
I am loving it
Yeah,
personally.
yeah.
But
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
all
I'm
right,
personally loving it. My team's doing no, but
it's
this is just
true.
like very fun. Like,
Yeah.
for the it's a good season for the fans.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have any closing thoughts before we call it? We actually ended up going over an hour because I just
Oh my
yapped the whole
gosh,
time. But
we love yapping. That's over here. No, I appreciate you having me on. It was nice talking. I
oh
haven't
yeah.
done one of these in a hot minute. Um,
Well, Mason's
yeah,
busy playing Baldur's Gate, so if the addiction stays up, we can just keep running this.
hell yeah.
But we'll
Hopefully,
see, we'll see.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, well, good luck to all the teams. I'm excited to watch these next
absolutely.
two series. Would love for an upset because I think it would just take everything we just said and throw it in the trash, and I think that
Yeah,
would be really
yeah,
fun. But unlikely, but fun. Um,
yeah,
so anyway, I'm going to be a huge Fruitcakes and Andromeda fan. Um,
absolutely.
actually, can't give Mason that one. I'm a huge Fruitcakes fan if he's
Oh,
bench.
yeah,
Huge Andromeda
yeah,
fan regardless. Going into this week, but we'll see.
yeah.
Games are on
Uh,
Thursday and Saturday,
uh,
so tune in then.
yeah.
See ya.
I